For my third year attending the Nebula Awards Conference as a SFF member, the event was held in Pittsburgh after 2 years in Chicago. I decided, despite being the absolute opposite of a morning person, that I wanted to catch an early flight. As you see. It then occurred to me that since waking up at 3 a.m. to get to the airport within the requisite 2-hour advance window wasn't likely to happen, I just said the hell with it, and got there at midnight, planning to catch a few winks in the waiting lounge. The great thing about airports at this ludicrous hour is that they're practically deserted, and I can simply chill with my book and... Oh, wait a minute. What? No, not this book. Fuck this book. There we are, that book. Much better. Anyway, as I was saying, I could simply relax and read and nap a little until I boarded my flight at 6:30 for a layover in Atlanta. By the time I reached Atlanta, it was around 9, and everything was starting to get bustly in typical fashion, and yet I had to marvel at how smoothly my travel day had been going so far, considering that the last 2 years had been aggravating nightmares of delayed takeoffs. I've often said that I prefer the being other places part of traveling better than the traveling part, but I don't mind flying itself, actually, if the airline has the basic competence to get a plane off the ground on time and doesn't delay 6 hours because of a mild drizzle and a couple of pigeons being seen shagging on the runway. Anyway, I was impressed to see the 9 a.m. diehards already hitting the concourse bar, but for myself, I was determined to have the most easygoing layover I possibly could. And I must say, any opportunity to have even decently passable Thai food for breakfast is one I'm not going to pass up. Before I knew it, I was boarding another flawlessly on-time takeoff for Pittsburgh, a city I've never really had a chance to visit before, and the Nebulas. I did like what I saw of Pittsburgh, and not just the massive airport Hugo Boss outlet. Pretty town, lots of rivers and bridges, people drive like maniacs, but whatever. The Marriott City Center, while not the insanely lavish palace that is Chicago's Palmer House Hilton, was attractively appointed, and my room was handsome and just the right degree of cozy, with a commanding view of at least part of the city skyline, but given my level of sleep deprivation up to this point, I wanted nothing more than to be best friends with this glorious bed. Thursday morning, before registration, I did my usual recon of the hotel's immediate neighborhood, located right by the Pittsburgh Penguins hockey arena and the charming little campus of Duquesne University. Now, cities to the east have a very different character from Texas cities, and one I quite like, and I quickly located not only the cutest and tiniest Barnes & Noble I've ever seen, but most importantly, more Asian food. And because I was mildly traumatized by the horribly overpriced hotel vending machines, the cutie at the Chinese restaurant helpfully pointed me towards my salvation, and before long I was stocked with a sensibly priced personal stash of emergency caffeine. Now, apart from the highly coveted goodie bag, if you've ever wondered what a Nebula conference looks like, well, it looks like a science fiction convention. Behold, people chatting and munching hors d'oeuvres in a con suite. As for programming, I enjoyed the flash talks, writers giving quick 5-minute presentations on a crazy wide variety of topics.
So I'm a writer of children's lit, and the question I get asked a lot is what the difference is between middle grade and young adult. So starting with age of protagonist, because that's a really quick and easy way to identify them. Middle grade, the average protagonist is like 10 to 13, with 12 being sort of the golden age. For a young adult, it's 14, usually more like 15 to 18, with 16 and especially 17 being the golden age.
Other good panels I saw discussed representation of marginalized characters, plus a great YA panel full of actual YA humans. The first awesome social event, a tasting of local craft beers.
Hop farm nut brown ale. So everybody has to be carefully passing it around because it's only one bottle, and anybody who spills anyone.
I'm somewhat adventurous, maybe a little picky, not a big fan of IPAs or hoppy beers, but always eager to make good new discoveries if I can.
We'll see how this goes.
Things with Beards by Sam J. Miller.
The night before the awards themselves, every nominee received a certificate.
Another wonderful title, A Fist of Permutations in Lightning and Wildflowers.
I'm not going to lie, you can't not get caught up in the moment with all of this talent and such a vast array of imaginative storytelling being celebrated at an event like this. Festivities continued with the mass autographing session. This is something they do every year at the Nebulas, and it's open and free of charge to the general public. The coolest guest was this year's Master of Ceremonies, astronaut Kjell Lindgren, who spent 2015 aboard the ISS and told everyone more than we wanted to know about what happens to your foot calluses in zero-G. Now, Saturday night rolled around, and it was time for the awards banquet itself. I'm not going to show you much because you can watch the whole 2-hour stream of the event yourself over at SFF's channel, but here's a shot of my salad. No, that's not what I mean. And the friendly robot who protected our table, and a little taster of the evening's festivities.
So, my wife claims that my career choices have been defined or driven by how comfortable the clothes for each of those careers were. And so, when I joined the Air Force, it was so that I could wear a flight suit. Medicine in the emergency department so that I could wear scrubs, and then NASA, again, so that I could wear a flight suit. You all look fabulous tonight, and because we do not have formal wear in the astronaut corps, I essentially get to wear my pajamas. So, thank you, NASA.
And afterwards, everyone decamped to the con suite for the tour-sponsored after party. This was all of it I was able to get footage of before it got too loud and crowded, and we were finally visited by the single most polite hotel security man I've ever encountered, asking us all to keep it down. That was my cue to head back to my room for a good night's sleep before the flight home. Another lovely Nebula year, and I can't wait for 2018.